If in doubt, take action. Today, I want to share why I believe having a bias for taking action is one of the most important traits that I've been able to develop over recent years. If taking regular, consistent action is something that you've struggled with, my 5-minute daily planning, continuous improvement checklist may be exactly what you need to get your consistency back on track. It's completely free. All you need to do is reach out and let me know, and I'll shoot it through, no questions asked. Hello and welcome back to the From Zero to Marketing Hero podcast. My name's Paul Heron. I'm a life coach, entrepreneur who made the transition from the uncertainty of not knowing how I was going to escape from the corporate world through the roller coaster of starting my own business to now having a successful coaching business where I get to help others in their own unique journey. This podcast is my latest effort at pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Over the last 5 years, I've predominantly outsourced all my marketing activities, and this year I decided this is the year that I'm going to take ownership and responsibility and figure some of this stuff out on my own. So I've committed myself to creating, uploading, posting a podcast episode every single day for the next 12 months to see where it takes me. Today's episode is all about sharing why I believe a bias for action can be one of the most important traits you can develop, particularly as a business owner. One of the barriers that was in my way for a very long time, pretty much as long as I can remember, was a tendency to wait until things were perfect before I would take action. I didn't know what label or what it was called at the time, but this has been with me for the better part of my life. Now I would call it perfectionism. In the past, it's something that I looked at as a favorable trait. And in many ways, I still justify it like that in some ways. But I can remember hearing a Tony Robbins quote in the very first life coaching program that I signed up to. And that quote was, "Done is better than perfect." And I've heard a lot of really powerful quotes over the years, and I'm not sure why that one really stood out. But at that particular time and moment, that hit home more than anything else had, I think. So that was probably 5-6 years ago now, and I'm very much still a work in progress in this domain. But just having this increased level of awareness that I've been able to build up over the last few years has really helped me consciously develop this bias for taking action rather than waiting. The problem with the old way, with waiting to be ready, with trying to get everything perfect before you take action, is that you end up taking either no action at all, or when you do take action, you're taking action at very slow increments. And this just doesn't work, or it didn't work for me anyway. What I've come to realize is that we only learn and we only really embody information through taking action and finding out how we experience this stuff. We can't learn our way through intellectually into being an expert on anything. The only way we can develop any skill is through trial and error in some ways. We can never be certain on what an outcome is going to be. And the more times we put the reps into taking action, the more we understand our way of creating certainty about how this thing works. I'm not sure if that makes sense at all. It's making sense in my mind as I say it. But it may be easier to use this podcast as an example. The old me would most definitely be still thinking about this. I had this idea probably spot on about 2 months ago now, and without a doubt, the old me would still be trying to work through how the best way to launch this podcast would be. Trying to predict every single eventuality, every single outcome, trying to work through exactly what the goal is, trying to read the crystal ball and trying to be certain of the final result before taking action. Without a doubt, the version of me 5+ years ago would not have released their first episode yet. And yet here I am now, 5 years later, decision to start a podcast 2 months ago, and I am now 50+ episodes into this journey. That's 50 steps, 50 days of thinking through how I want to approach it, what the problem or challenge I want to talk about is, 50 days of turning up and going through the motions, going through the actual process of taking the action. But most importantly, it's 50 days of being able to reflect back on the feedback that I receive and improve and learn as I go. And this really is just the most perfect example that I can illustrate that just highlights why having a bias for action can be one of the most powerful things that we can strive towards. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Hopefully this gives you something to think about. I'm sure this is something that I will touch on and keep coming back to as this journey continues. But if this is something that resonates with you and hits home, and if you can understand that perfectionist element lurking in the background and trying to make you believe that it's actually a beneficial trait to wait and get things perfect before you start, I think just having a think through this and thinking through how just deciding to show up and take regular, consistent action might be something that's worth considering. And again, if showing up and taking regular, consistent action and developing this continuous improvement mindset is something that resonates with you and is something that you'd like to learn a little bit more about, my continuous improvement checklist, my daily planning, 5-minute daily planning checklist is the perfect place to get started. It is quite simple. I've got a checklist there that will show you exactly what you need to do. I've got a video that guides you through it and shows you how to use it. And I'm sure it is something that can really help you to start thinking about this in a different way. So as I said earlier, it's completely free. You don't have to provide anything at all. You just need to let me know and I'll shoot it through. The best way to reach out is through my website. You can go over to paulheronlifecoaching.com. There's a few different ways there to reach out. The best way might be to simply send me a messenger message. I'll get right back and I'll shoot it through. Finally, if you are enjoying the show, I'd really appreciate if you could take a moment of your time and hit the subscribe button. It really is one thing that can help share this show with a wider audience, and I would be extremely appreciative if you could take the time and do that. And until tomorrow, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye for now.